I just want us to know that the entire time I'm very reluctantly going up these stairs, I'm muttering under my breath in Elvish how when we die going up these stairs, going up to a cloud, that Finn is going to have to be the one to explain to my dead parents in Elvish heaven how I died going up the
So you're climbing the stairways to heaven, is that what you're saying? But
Yes.
Oh my god, that hat is horrible.
Is
You
what
said
Finn
you want to
says
play
when he goes
Storm
up.
King's Thunder, so we are playing Storm King's Thunder.
It's like Mickey Mouse and Fantasia.
Is it possible for me to get a token on there? So I can see what's going on.
I'll do this. If he's not dead, or if he is dead, he's rolling around in his grave right now. Oh, he is. Rest in peace, Paul Dukas. The guy who wrote Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Okay. So you guys should be able to see the right side, which is kind of what the tower looks like standing before you. You may not necessarily know that there's a first floor, second floor area quite yet, but you can at least get an idea of the shape of the tower. And you are standing on the cloud where you can see, and over to the left it appears to be the opening, which is right over here, to the tower. But you still see nobody at this point. What would the party like to do?
Oh, I don't like standing on cloud. I go for the entrance.
Yeah.
And you do see Ian, as you step on, being one of the last people onto the cloud, you begin to see that the cloud stairs behind you begin to disappear one at a time from the ground up.
Oh, motherfucker.
Uh-oh.
I run up, make sure I'm with the party, and I tell them that the stairs are poofing away.
Okay.
Too late now. I guess we have one way to go.
I use the dash action and burst between these two guys here, and I can...
Yep, so when you kind of walk into that main entranceway, you kind of see a bluish curtain. So it's an open archway that leads into an empty vestibule, as you can see, but at the back hangs a thin, translucent blue curtain that flaps in the breeze.
I do the same thing. I dash over here.
Do we have to be in to see it?
Yeah, probably. There's probably a
yeah.
lighting thing.
Yep.
And the vestibule that you're in is empty at the moment. And that blue kind of wavy line is the translucent, flapping in the breeze, blue curtain.
Solid stone?
The walls, yep. Everything seems to be made of a solid stone.
The floor?
Maybe like an alabaster type color. Yep, stone floor.
See? Solid.
I give you like the most withering look you have ever received in your life.
Gives you a dashing smile back.
Well, I think if they wanted to kill us, they would have done it on the stairs, so I'm going to just walk in.
I think if they wanted to kill us, they'd have dropped a rock on her head.
That's true.
Yep. So
Remember Nightstone.
As you move in, you see beyond the curtain lies a 100-foot high hexagonal chamber containing a giant-sized wooden table, a stone chair. Dangling from the ceiling by iron chains are 6 crystal spheres that seem to have a flame on in them right now. So there's plenty of light inside, and it's illuminating the room brightly. And you can see about 20 feet above you, the tower's second floor can be seen through a 20-foot wide hole in the soaring ceiling. And they're on a disc, which is this kind of dotted line that you see is where the hole in the ceiling is. On a disc, starts to float down, you see our giant appear. So, they give us a good description of this guy.
So the two new party members are the ones that are in the room.
Sure.
We haven't learned all the other stuff. We're not gun shy yet.
So you see basically a cloud giant, windswept white hair, wispy white beard, and a billowy purple robe adorned with gold stars. He is balding. He has a couple of gold rings in his ears, hoop-like rings for earrings. And he begins to float slowly down, and seems to have kind of a befuddled look on his face as he sees all of you in the chamber. And he says to you, "Are you them?" And he has a quizzical look on his face.
Are we who?
And he says to you, "Oh, my manners, my manners. First, let me introduce myself as the great wizard Zepheros." And as you can see, he says, "Welcome to my abode. I welcome you here. But we have to get on to other things, more important things. Things are happening." And he says, "Are you them?" Again, questioning, almost as if he just forgot what he said.
Of course we're them.
Who is it you're expecting?
And then he kind of looks at you and he says, "Well, who are you?"
We were traveling along the road, and your stairway appeared to us.
And he, yes, but what are your names?
My name is Kalendar Philandriel Bethilikir.
He says, No, you're not them. Who else are you?
I'm Greybeard.
Says, No, that's not you either. And he looks expectantly at the others that have not introduced themselves yet.
I'm Ardreth Fairfirin.
And he has a look and he thinks, Ardreth. No, you're not them either.
Finwi Hasharan, Paladin of Carillion.
Oh, he has a smile to his face and he says, "Well met, Paladin. But you are not who I expected." And then he looks at the last person who has not introduced herself yet. And he says, "You must be her then. You must be them. What is your name?"
I stare at him for like a whole 10 seconds before I say, "I am Ianagris Meliamne of the High Forest."
And then he kind of gets this frown on his face and he's like, "It's not them." And he kind of puts his hand to his chin and as he's thinking and he starts pacing. And he's down on the ground level now. The disc that he's floated down kind of sits on the ground and he's kind of stepped off it and he's walking around. He's like, "It's not them. I thought for sure it was them. They told me it was them." And he's talking to himself. He's ignoring most of you at the moment. And then he looks back and he says, "Are you sure you're not Jarral?"
Nice.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Do I look monkish?
Or like a drow.
Our companion Jarral traveled to the north days ago. We are actually on our way to meet him.
"So maybe you are them then." He says, "Well, welcome. Make yourself at home, but we must hurry. We must continue. Great things are happening in the world, and I believe you're the only ones that can stop it." He kind of motions you forward to further into the room, and he goes and sits at the chair. And he opens a big book, and he starts talking. He says, let me go back to my notes here. Yeah. For several weeks, he says, he just kind of is speaking to all of you at once. He says, I've been contacting the other planes and trying to find out what has happened to the ordning. I can't tell you what has happened, but something has broken the ordning. And since that is true, this world is in grave peril. In all of the contacting I have done, the only name I have gotten of anything that might set this right is the name Jarral.
What is the ordning?
And he looks at you quizzically, and he's like, oh, yes, smallfolk, I get it. The ordning is the set of laws that the giants follow. And it's what kept the giants in the areas and places that they were, and the laws that they follow. And the king of the giants tells us what laws and who's in charge. But that has now been broken, and nobody is listening to those in charge anymore. Giants are just doing as they wish. The different tribes no longer following the rules that have been set forth after the Dragon Wars.
Like the giants who attacked Nightstone?
He says, giants attack Nightstone? What giants attack Nightstone? And where is Nightstone?
Do you have a map?
He starts rummaging through some stuff. He says, and he unrolls a giant-sized map, and you guys have to kind of climb up onto a big old table to see it. And he's like, yeah, you have a picture or a map of the Sword Coast.
I will point out where Nightstone is.
And he's like, giants attack there? What giants attack there?
Some giant in a floating castle dropped rocks upon this city.
And he kind of has a frown. Cloud giants attacked a human city? Oh, what have my brethren done? I can assure you that I am nothing like them, and I am only here to help you. And he seems fairly dismayed at you explaining the attack on Nightstone by cloud giants.
I will look to Ian and Greybeard and ask them what was it that the giants tore from the ground?
The Nightstone.
Oh, it was the actual Nightstone?
Yeah. I'd make the same tone as she did like a second afterwards. Yeah, the Nightstone.
It was just a large hole in the ground when I saw it.
Us too.
Well, he says, I've talked to these planar entities, these minor deities and lords of different areas, and although I cannot directly interfere with what's about to take place, the small amount of help that I am allowed to provide is to give you transport to where you need to go. So if you wish, wherever you are set, I can fly you there to get you there quicker. And hopefully this will set you on the course that these deities and gods believe your group is destined to do.
Can I insight check him?
Absolutely.
Do we know where Jarral is?
Yeah, you get the sense that he's being honest to you. You also get the sense that he's a little kind of like a befuddled kind of mage wizard, the type that often forgets things or is very scholarly type, very head in the clouds. See what I did there? But yeah, you're not getting any deception from him.
Well, clearly, if you're your deities have told you that you must seek out Jarral, that should be our first course of action, to retrieve our companion.
He says, yes, we must make haste. Where is he so that we may pick him up quickly, and then where will I be taking you?
Well, we had planned on traveling to Tribor.
He says, all right, Tribor it is. And he jumps back down, or he gets out of his chair, and he climbs back over to his floating disc, and then it begins to float up. And he says, please, make yourself at home anywhere in the lower level. I ask that you do not come to the second level. And then he kind of floats back up, and the disc completes the circle up there again. And then you feel everybody's stomach gets really queasy as you feel the cloud castle begin to move.
I look at Finn and say, we have to go pick up Jarral first. Before we head to Tribor.
It sounds like he jumped ahead of that. I did say that, but he didn't ask us where Jarral was. Can we,
I don't
can we
believe
shout
we
up at the
know.
ceiling?
I don't believe
Yeah.
we know where Jarral was. Where were we supposed to meet Jarral?
I don't have the map in front of me. Is that first city
Red Lark?
on the long road?
Westbridge?
Yeah, Red Larch. I think we
Red
changed it
Larch?
to Red Larch.
Shout that up towards the ceiling. Red
Jarl's
Larch
in Red Larch.
Oh, and then you hear from there, he's like, well, I don't know if it'd be a good idea for me to go straight to that town, but I can go near it. And so that's where Jarral will be. He yells back down.
Yes.
And you
Although
still
we're-
feel the castle moving. He says, all right, we're off to the north.
If we look outside, how fast are we traveling?
When you go back outside, it seems like a pretty good clip, but you're so high up and you've never had this perspective before as far as moving. You're not quite sure what speeds you're moving at.
This is a great vantage. I'm going to be watching that.
You're definitely moving quicker than you would have had you been walking.
So we will certainly beat Jarral to the city.
Yes. Yep. You'll arrive earlier. All right.
Travel
what
in
else
style.
does the group want to do at this point? Yeah, you just have. There's not really anything but just the floor there. I mean, you can make yourselves at home, and you guys begin to travel.
I'm going to sit in that big chair because this is the coolest thing that's ever happened to me.
Okay.
I walk around this room to see if I see anything on the walls, anything interesting. Any writing, pictures, whatever.
No, there's not much here. You can see some of the papers are on the table, the chair. The statue is of a cloud giant you don't recognize. Those globes that you see are actually hanging from the ceiling, dangling from the ceiling and providing light. And they appear to have some type of magical flame on each one of them, so that's what's lighting up the whole area. You can hear muttering from upstairs every now and then, as it sounds like Zepheros talks to himself quite often, but it's not loud enough for you to hear what he's saying. And that's about it. It's a pretty sparse room.
Did he leave the map?
Yeah, you leave the map.
I'm gonna study that map because it's probably got to be a kick-ass perspective on map making.
Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else good?
I'm just kind of sitting between that statue's feet, holding on.
To the statue?
Is there a
Okay.
window with a good view?
Nope. No
Oh.
windows on this floor.
You gotta go outside.
Ooh, I think I'm doing that.
Well, Coffee Black's out there.
All right.
I'm watching it.
So we go through a basically the rest of the day of travel, and then the sun sets, and he's still traveling. And then you feel the castle stop again, and then he floats down on the thing, and he says, "Feel free. I need to rest before I move the tower again. So we'll rest here for the evening, and then we'll continue our journey in the morning." And he says, "Is there anything I can do for you before I go to bed?"
Should we just sleep here on the floor?
He's like, "Sure, anywhere here is fine."
It's soft as a cloud.
We need to prepare food of some sort. Can we cook on the stones?
He says,
Do you have wood?
Yes. Oh,
How do we eat, sir?
we can magically flame. He can create a magical fire for you if you wish. Let's see what he can do. He has lots of stuff.
How does he eat? What does a cloud giant eat?
All his stuff is upstairs
Please don't say half elves.
because they're dwarfs.
Hey, now.
Yeah, he says if you wanted to cook in there, that's fine. He can always clean up any mess using magic. But he doesn't have anything to offer you as far as that. And I assume you all have regular rations before you left Waterdeep, would be my assumption.
All right, I'll roll out the bedroll. This might be the oddest place I've ever spent the evening.
Okay. Coffee, how long do you stay out? Do you stay out even at night, or you coming in for the evening? Just so we have
Yeah,
an
I'll
idea.
come in for the evening.
Okay. Anybody want to do anything during the evening, or anything special before I keep us moving?
Nope.
I'm good.
Are there any books in this lower level?
Nope, you do not see any books in the lower level.
I'll sing some songs around our tiny little fire, I guess.
Nice.
Try to encourage the bard to bust out his harp.
I don't have a harp, but I will start to play the instrument that I do have. So it's a
Oh my.
it's a small rebec. So it's a stringed instrument that kind of sounds. It's played with a bow. So
And you all do begin to hear some snoring from up from the second level.
I
All right.
scoff and I think, God, it's even worse than Greybeard.
Nice.
So you have a merry campfire set in the bottom of a cloud tower, and the night goes uneventful. Everybody gets their long rest, and morning begins to peak up. The sun begins to rise. Where's the group during the rest of today's travel? How would you like to spend today's travel? Or where, I guess, would be.
It's not much of
more
a
important
space.
thing.
When a cloud giant says don't come upstairs, you don't go upstairs.
I stay right where I am.
Okay. Anybody else?
I'm too respectful. Tigray would have been up there, but
If we weren't thousands of feet, I guess I would, I would monkey around, but to make the whole place crash 1,000 feet to the ground is probably not a good move. So I try to stay put.
Okay. And coffee?
yeah, I'm gonna respectfully stay down.
All right. All right. Are you still checking outside at any point? Coffee?
Yeah, when I want to see like lay of the land and stuff and see what I can see. I like this
Yeah.
vantage.
Okay. So about midday, you think you spot. It's weird because you've been looking at the lands and you're getting a good sense of how things are and how far away things are, and it's giving you a really good perspective you've really haven't had before on these lands that you have traveled before, and you kind of recognize some places, and you can probably still even see Waterdeep way off in the distance. You're not that far, you're not that many miles away from it that it's not still just a dot on the horizon or where the ocean meets. And but you happen to be just kind of scanning the horizon, and you seem to spot 9 very what you think to be giant birds heading. It looks like they were flying along, and then it's almost like they must have spotted the tower, and then they kind of wing over, and it looks like they start heading towards the tower.
That alarms me. So I will run back in the tower and shout for Finn to take a look.
Well, I'll run out.
And then, thinking again, I will shout for Ian to come out too.
Yeah. He's probably got way better eyes than I do.
Yeah, I'll head out.
And her nature might help with this.
Yeah, so then go ahead and give me a perception check. They're still pretty far out.
Nope, I see nothing. It's the first time I've walked out, so this is all awful.
I'm gonna head out with the party too.
Sure. Yeah, anybody that goes out can do a perception check.
Okay.
Yeah, so you see it looks like a group of birds. You're not getting any more detail quite yet. So they're going to get a lot closer then before you really can tell what they are with those rolls.
And the cloud has stopped moving?
No, it's still moving at this point.
Okay. Should we alert Zepheros?
I think that's a great idea.
Agreed.
All right, I'm gonna go back into the tower and shout up to Zephyros that we have incoming foul.
Okay. Yeah, so as it takes them a while to actually fly over to you. They saw the tower from quite a ways off, and you're still traveling north along it's still several thousand feet above the same road that you were on. And where are you going to? They're coming from, we'll just say from this direction. If you're seeing my ping, for those of you that are outside. And as they get closer and closer, you start to think they look like they must be large vultures. And as they get closer, you think you see that there are people riding the vultures.
Human-sized people?
Yes. They're 9 very thin, lightly armored humans seem to be riding the giant vultures. They're getting close enough that you can start to make out some details. You can see that the riders all wear steel helms that cover their eyes and resemble stylized bird heads. And one of them is equipped with a shoulder bag that's adorning a smiling face.
What?
And they kind of wing in.
Nothing from Zepheros yet?
Yeah, Zephyros hasn't.
No, he's still traveling. He doesn't. He hasn't come down.
Well, I'm going to step back onto the stones.
Good point.
All right.
I have my bow out and ready if they ever get hostile. I have it pointing to the ground, but with an arrow already knocked.
Okay. Let me. There we go. And so you begin to see these vultures land on the cloud and with the people on them. Let me
Do they
get all
seem
that.
hostile?
Yeah.
They haven't done anything. They're just landing their birds and they begin to dismount from their birds.
But they look like they've been there before.
I mean, you can roll, but
I mean,
you can
as
try
in-
an insight check.
Okay.
Oh,
So does it look like something they've done here before? Or do they look like they're trying to figure
no,
out
you're
what's
not
going on
seeing
with the
any.
castle?
Yeah, they seem to be cautious. They seem to
Okay.
be looking around as if they've not been here before. You get the impression that maybe they haven't.
Okay.
It's not like they are giving you any indication that they've been here before.
So I'll
And
let
the
the rest
birds
of the
begin to
party know that I
land.
think this might be the first time they've been to this castle.
Yeah, and they begin to dismount.
Somebody should cry out to them.
Hail!
All right, let me finish bringing them aboard here. Oh, lots of tokens, sorry. All stacked together. So you go out to greet them then? Is that what we're...
Like I said, I don't want to do anything that doesn't involve standing on these stones.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually around the corner, kind of leaning out. Feet on stone.
Okay.
Do they respond?
Yeah, and they say, oh, you're outside so they can see you, Greybeard, when you say that?
Yeah. Like I said, I lean out as far as I can without stepping on cloud and yelled, "Hail!"
Okay. And they, one of them at the front kind of looks at you quizzically and just gives a short wave and says, "Hail, we're here to speak with the cloud giant."
All right, come on in.
All right, no, I think I got them all there. Jesus, a bunch of them.
I back up to the. I go back inside.
Okay. So yeah,
do the same
two
that
of them enter, and they say they stay together, and they say we're here to speak with the cloud giant. Are you his servants?
We are passengers. He is upstairs, actually, driving the castle. Cloud? I'm not
Giant
quite sure what you call
cloud
this.
castle thing.
We too are here to talk to him.
They say, okay,
yell
well,
up.
we wish that you would summon him.
I yell up and I say, Zepheros!
And they look at you with a
Zephyros!
funny look. Oh, just the yelling. And then you feel the cloud castle slow to a halt. And then you see the disc again begin to levitate down. And we
Okay,
have
visitors.
Zephyros appears.
Oh, not what I imagined him to look like.
Ah, see, he's smiling. He's obviously a good giant.
You got a dope collar on there.
I know. Look at that beard, though. All wispy and shit.
And he says, yes, I thought we were traveling. What is this?
You have visitors.
And one of them steps forward and bows deeply and introduces himself as Amaranth to Zepheros. And he says, Great Cloud Giant Zepheros. My name is Amaranth, and this is Navan. Kind of gestures to the person next to him. And we would wish to speak with you in private.
Greybeard chortles like,
And Zephyros is like, well, and he kind of looks at you, and he has this apologetic look on his face, and he's like, "What, would you mind stepping out of the tower for just a moment while I speak with these newcomers?"
Short tower, can we just step behind the curtain?
Is there another place with stone that is not cloud that we can stand on? Something sable?
Not really. There's just the
Would
cloud.
this be acceptable?
all right, but you give a yell and we got your back. And I eyeball the new people.
Oh, I hate every second of this. I mumble in Elvish under my breath as I leave.
Okay. Ardreth, you're going to stay or leave?
No, I got with the party too.
Okay.
Didn't drag my token over.
All right. So Amaranth approaches, and you can see kind of through the translucent curtain there. You can see through it. Approaches. They bow again to the giant. You can hear that they're talking, but you're maybe not quite here. Everybody, go ahead and do maybe a perception check, and if you roll like a really high number, like a 20 or higher, you can probably make out a little bit of what's going on. If not, you're hearing the voice, but you're not able to make out the words. Niacin.
Well, she can read lips now.
Yeah, I was going to let her do that too. All right. So what you can gather, Ian, as you're kind of listening and watching through the translucent current, it looks like they've introduced themselves, and he has taken the bag off his shoulder, and he's offering it as a gift to Zephyros to join them in their quest to help Yancy Bin. You're not sure what that name means or is, and it's YAN-C-BIN. And you're gathering something about helping them return Yancy Bin to the world, helping return the world to its primordial state as it was at the dawn of history. And Zephyros is looking at them very quizzically. He's not quite sure what he should do, and he kind of tells them just a moment, and he walks over back to the curtain, and he says, and he opens the curtain up, and he says, I think they want me to join their quest, he kind of tells you, and he says, but I know that fixing the ordning is the most important thing, our mission. What say you?
What is their mission?
He says, I'm not real sure what they want me to do. They're just offering me a gift to help them return the world to its primordial state, but I'm not clear on what that would be.
Then ask them.
He's like, Okay, and he goes back.
You really do have a low charisma, don't you?
I look at our group and I'm like, frack these guys. We'll save our plane or primordial whatevers.
So he begins talking with them again, and they realize that he's told you what they said, and that so they're talking a little bit lower, and it doesn't seem he still has a confused look on his face, and he kind of gives them what you think is let me think on it and I will get back to you answer, and they say okay, and then they begin to leave. And they come through the curtain. And you guys make way or block their path or what?
As Zephyros was asking them this question, I tell the party that these people are trying to help someone called Yancy Bin to return the world to the primordial state as it was at the dawn of history.
Okay.
Why don't we just ask him?
Yeah. Excuse me, friends.
And they stop, and as you address them.
Since you are inquiring of our common friend, Zephyros, may we ask what you would need his help with, and maybe we could assist?
They kind of look at you, and he says, well, I believe we really only need the Cloud Giant's help in this. And we have offered him our gift, and we hope to hear from him his answer soon.
And where could he find you?
We'll be right outside the tower.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I thought they were gonna leave.
And they kind of make to start walking past you.
Hold up.
No walking past you?
I want to make sure I can do it first. As a paladin.
Paladin time.
Just murder hobo?
No. I've got divine sense. I don't know if it works the same way as detect evil used to, though.
Nah, there's no real detect alignments anymore. That's the weird thing. Alignments are kind of a non-factor in 5e.
Everybody's mercurial.
I walk past them and into Zephyros's
Okay.
business. And then we
I don't trust him, but I'm going to shoulder him as I walk by.
You're gonna shoulder him.
I'm not sure how to read him yet, so I'm just going back into the room as well.
Well, turning the world to a primordial soup cannot be a good thing in any book.
Okay.
As I walk by, I give him like a finger gun, and I'm like, pterodactyl. Just at random.
Pterodactyl.
Kind
And
of
they
a
go
meta,
back out, and they go back out to their cultists.
kind of a meta question, but do like in Dungeons and Dragons, do we know what primordial means? Like, do we know what the beginning of the world was?
I assume some do. It would depend, I guess, how learned you are in history.
I asked Zephyros, who is Yancy Bin?
That's a great question. You would think they'd provide that.
He's just some guy, you know?
I want to say it's a god, but let me check it.
It sounds familiar. I'm not sure. I'll Google it. Oh, good. Oh, he's a good guy. Obviously.
Yeah. So you guys could probably make a religion or history check to know if you recognize that name.
What is my religion at? Oh, good. I'll do religion now. Oh, good. Not one. Oh, good too.
Right.
Oh
Ardreth,
my God,
you've never heard
Ardreth.
of it.
Not to be outdone.
Coffee, never heard of it. Ian, you've never heard of it. Finn, you have heard of Yancy Bin as the Archomental, also known as the Prince of Evil aerial creatures.
Okay.
His
I
symbol
definitely,
is a silver
I
light
definitely
circle.
pop that guy in the shoulder as I walk by him. Then
I had no idea who that was. He's one of the elemental princes of evil.
how do you spell that?
Oh, gee.
Yan
EVIL.
Ben.
He's known
I'll put
as
it in
Prince
there.
of Evil Air. Wow. Does Zephyros
But
tell
you
us
don't
this?
really know much more other than that. Elemental Prince of Evil.
Well, I do ask Zephyros about Yancy.
He's I don't know too much about him, but he's gonna go and contact. He's gonna use some spells to try to figure out anything about these people. And he's gonna float back up on his disc and perform a ritual upstairs. So you see him float back up, and you hear him begin to cast what you are sure is some type of ritual.
I look at the party and I say, do you guys know who Yancy Bin is?
I will explain who Yancy Ben is.
And Coffee, you can make a Arcana check as maybe one of the only ones that might recognize. Yeah. So
Nice.
you think he's casting contact planar entities.
Nice.
Not something you could do, but something you've heard of or have seen maybe before or have read about high-level wizards doing. Which immediately
Someday.
kind of gives you an idea of his wizard level too, which is pretty high. So
Yeah,
he is
impressive.
a serious contender here. All right.
Are they still here?
And they're outside.
Hmm.
So let me see here.
Did I recognize those birds outside?
Yep, giant vultures.
Oh, they're literally giant vultures. Okay.
Yeah, yep, literally giant vultures.
So it wasn't Ayla.
No, she hasn't gone to the dark side.
It was her aunt.
Yeah, so he's casting contact other plane, and I believe
The one with the hairy mole?
he needs to.
So, are you gonna kill him?
Have to roll.
Do you want to do anything?
Oh,
I don't want to attack anybody that he considers an ally at this point. I would just rather
Yeah,
just get off the
so-
cloud if we can, if he's going to say yes to him.
So 10 minutes goes by, and you hear him. What appears for him to finish the ritual. You no longer hear any of the verbal components or anything going on upstairs, and then it just goes quiet, and the tower is not moving at all. And I think that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
Oh,